I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my god, that was so corny.
The You, Me,
Oh
We
goodness.
podcast. Welcome back to the You, Me, We podcast. I have no idea what episode number this is. Vicky, I'm sure will correct me. Episode 20 what?
I think 22.
22.
Ooh,
I know,
That's
my
amazing.
goodness.
Episode.
It's been a very bumpy road, ladies and gentlemen.
but amazing nonetheless.
Episode 23 is going to be called Couples Counseling.
Oh, absolutely. No, there's no doubt about that. That is 100% accurate.
There almost wasn't a 22.
There almost was not a 22.
There almost was a 22. It would just been the Me podcast.
The final, yeah, it would have been the Ode podcast explaining.
Well, anyways, we have a special guest in the building. Well, let me introduce my co-host as always. My sidekick.
I'm your sidekick.
My roommate, my Andy Rickman. Rickman?
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it.
What does that mean? I'm a Google
Just
it.
go back and watch Sábado Gigante because you never watched regular TV. We have Vicky's here, the You of You, Me, We. And I will let Vicky introduce our special guest for episode 22 of the You, Me, We podcast.
I don't know if it's 22. I got to double check.
Who cares?
Well, our guest is my friend, my sorority sister, businesswoman, entrepreneur,
Yes.
Latrice.
Hey world, hey. I know I'm super corny.
And it's Latrice of
Latrice of LMonique Consulting. So
businesswoman,
that's my
entrepreneur,
business.
preneur.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm going to let you.
Entrepreneur.
I never help him. I'm like, I just let him do it to himself.
Entrepreneur. Well, tell the listeners why we have Latrice with us today in studio.
Okay, so if anyone checks out our highlights on Instagram, she is our very first feature. I think only for now, because I was like trying to think of another business, and then we keep going back and forth. But she is the first and right now only feature of Friendship Friday.
Yeah, you got to bring that back.
I know we do.
Yeah, that's really good.
And we have her here today because our topic is putting yourself out there. And as a entrepreneur starting in a consulting business, there are certain things, like we did have an entrepreneur episode, but we didn't discuss into depth putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that comes with it. Like people just think that it's, like just start an Instagram or whatever, but there's just so much behind the scenes that you deal with on yourself, like on a personal level and also on a professional level. And how do you deal with that? Because big companies and big businesses, they have people that they hire to help them like kind of mitigate the risks. And
The lackeys.
yeah, like oh, we have a
the
media
employees.
firestorm, and then they have as an entrepreneur, you are all of those things, and that's part of putting yourself out there.
Your media, your IT, you're the PR.
You're legal.
You're legal.
Jack of all trades.
For real.
So
during the start
give the
of
listeners a little background on your entrepreneurial journey, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me first start by saying Latrice of LMonique Consulting is a image consulting service where I help entrepreneurs or ambitious professionals, coaches, experts, really, in the words of Sierra, level up.
People who can't dress. Okay, I got you. Hence why Vicky knows her. No,
Oh, really?
Shots
but you help
fired.
people who
Shots
ain't got
fired.
no swag and no drip.
I ain't gonna say no drip, but they had a little bit of drip, but they're going places. They're moving up in their career or in their social climate, and they feel like what, I'm trying to do bigger and better things, but I also have to look the part.
Absolutely.
Which goes straight on first impressions, especially when you're meeting new people or you're trying to get that new job or
promote your business.
or attracting and retaining clients. They want to make
Absolutely.
sure that you have the sauce, and that includes everything: the talent, the skill, and who doesn't want to be around an attractive looking person,
Yeah.
as far as dressing and whatnot. So,
Right, Vicky?
Anyways, so I had told Ode about I used to work in this company, and one of my coworkers who was we were the same. Like, he wasn't higher than me. I wasn't higher than him or whatever. But he always dressed nice. Like he just always dressed nice. And people really thought that he was all of our bosses because of the way he looked. So, like, I remember one morning we were getting breakfast. And he got his breakfast first, and then the people that were working the counter, they were Latino, so they were speaking in Spanish. And he said hi to me, and they were like, "Oh, are you gonna get in trouble because your boss? You like, like you've been waiting here for a while for your food." I'm like, "He ain't my boss.
He ain't the boss of me.
He ain't no boss."
It does everything.
And that I told him, I was like, "Yo, by the way that he dresses and he carries himself like he stands very tall," and I'm like, people really automatically they're like, "Yo, he's a boss." Like,
it's
and
true.
I'm like, "No, he's not.
It's true.
He's not a boss."
It's true. It's true. We only have, as humans, 7 seconds. Excuse me, 7 seconds to really make that lasting impression. And usually when you're coming face to face with someone that you don't know, your clothes are doing all the talking.
That's right.
It's doing all the talking. Before you even open your mouth, someone is automatically judging you, because that's what we do. We judge.
Yeah.
They're automatically judging you based on what you're wearing. If you see someone in a finely crafted suit and it just like bam, bam, boom, boom, cat.
It just says so much about them. Like, they care about how they look. And if they care about how they look, imagine how much they care about what they do. And like, they look like passionate people. And you could be wrong.
Yeah.
But
totally wrong.
It's all about pulling them in. And then
And
once you got your hooks in them, that's it.
That's it.
That's all you need.
I think the uniqueness of what you do, like Vicky said, we had entrepreneur episode.
Yeah.
But I think the uniqueness of what you do, and kind of tying into what Vicky said about, putting yourself out there, you're in a business where it's too much you telling them, trust me.
About the way you look.
Yeah,
yes.
I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Just trust me and follow my advice.
Yeah.
Which I would think in some areas, in some entrepreneurial journey and endeavors, it is kind of scary because, like, okay, prime example. I'll tell myself sometimes I want to start producing other people's podcasts.
Nice.
I know what will work for that, but I'm like, who am I to tell them this is what's going to work?
Yeah.
And I think that's a scary part about certain kind of businesses. If it's a product, I'm just making T-shirts. I'm making T-shirts. It kind of sells itself. But here you are telling them, what I'm going to put on you, that's going to work. You trust me.
Yeah. I think that one of the things about putting yourself out there and making sure you have the credibility is making sure that you are as educated in your craft as possible. So, like, for me, I became a certified image consultant. So at least when I can say, trust me, it's going to work, is because I'm certified. I know how to drape you with the right colors. I know how to tell you about your body type and what's going to fit you in your frame and make you look or position you in the best light possible. So for me, I definitely feel the same way. Like, I'm the first person in my back of my mind when I see someone say, I'm this expert, I'm like, by whose standards?
Yes.
Your socks don't even match.
What you mean? Like, how you figure? I want to know. I want to make sure that why are you telling me that you are credible? Like, and it's because you have credibility. I want to see that you have some type of credibility.
Right.
And especially in these days where, money is tight. People want to make sure that
where they put their money, it's going to go.
It's going to work.
Right.
For sure. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I think a lot of times, too, is how you, like you said, how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here, getting ready to be ready, and Latrice walks in just looking like a certified drip doctor.
For real. She was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so overdressed. I just came from work. I was like, yo, I literally look like the hired help right now. Like,
Not even. She walked in like, I just pulled something on really quick.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
I just grabbed whatever I could find.
Wait,
guys.
Back in the day, me and Latrice were on the step team, right? So we were on the step team for a sorority. So we would meet up for practice. And I kid you not, we would be inside just looking like we literally grabbed whatever was next to us. Because, we're going to go step. We're going to go sweat. Like, Latrice would be coming in and she looked like just dripping money. And we're like, why are you coming so dressed up? She's like, dressed up how? Like, I just put this on. We're like, really? That looks mad coordinated though. Like the sunglasses are like beaming in the sun. There would be no sun though. And then like she's
I'm
like
just really
glowing, and
blind.
I'm like, how is that possible? So that's funny you said that, because that's what we always used to say about her. Like, oh, she just threw that on.
No. I mean,
real.
during this startup journey, or in my startup journey, I still have my full-time job. So, I
Which
work
is
in
the true
HR. Yeah,
entrepreneur.
I work in HR. So I kind of have to.
Yeah.
She's like, but I'm going to show up.
If I'm gonna fire people, I want to look good.
Yes,
while
I
I'm
want them
firing
to
people.
remember that someone well-dressed
Yeah.
gave them the pink slip.
No. I just want to make sure, just tying in with what I want to do, and my passion is
Right.
I gotta
And
walk
it's
the
true.
talk.
Exactly. And true, people do respond to you in the way that you're dressed. That's how people respond to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It commands respect.
Absolutely.
Now,
Commands respect.
and Vicky, you could attest to this too. In a career where, like I said, you are the product, or your advice, your words are the product. When is that moment when you say to yourself, you know, okay, I'm ready to put myself out there. I have what it takes now to say I am a certified drip doctor. That's what I'm gonna call you from now on.
That's it.
Or a certified swag
I'm
specialist.
gonna put that on my Instagram.
Certified swag specialist. I love that.
Because for me, yes, I had my first mixer at like 18, and I could play from one song to the next song, but I knew, you know what, I'm not ready to go DJing parties. While there are people who will be like, yo, I could play a song off of this Walkman and this Walkman. I'm a DJ. I'm gonna go out there, or hey, you know what, my Supreme fit whatever matches my hat. I can go tell people I'm a drip doctor. You know.
Yeah.
So at what point do you say? At what point do you finally say, or what is it that makes you finally say, okay, I'm ready to go out there?
You know what? I don't think there is ever a time, because I feel like internally we're always fighting with our old self and our
That
new
you feel
self.
like, no, I need to do this though. When I do
Yeah.
this, I get to do that.
I
And
get
then
to
when
do
you do
this.
it, and you're
Right.
like, no.
Right.
Wait, I need to do this, and then I'm just gonna go and do it.
Exactly. You make this whole full out plan and agenda. Like, here are the baby steps I'm going to take.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, just like you said, you have people out here that's
They're like,
being
I'll find a
bogus
way.
and being like, oh no, like this is it. This is me.
Yes.
So I think for me, what constantly helps me say, like, you know what, like, go for yours, is that there are other people who are not as passionate out here doing what I'm
and they just
wanna
figuring
do.
it out.
And they're just figuring
And still
figuring
making
out
it.
and still making it
money.
and making money. So I'm like, if they're not even putting half the effort, and I'm out here trying to get an education, make sure that I'm, certified in, in the dripness and whatnot, then it's like, why should I be afraid to put myself out there?
Right.
Can I play devil's advocate? Or for those who procrastinate and keep
I
saying,
was gonna be
'cause
like,
I'm guilty.
well,
I'm
you met
guilty.
Ode.
Oh,
Because I think in the back of our head we're thinking, nah, let me hold off, because when I do come out, it's gonna
Gonna
be
be ready.
perfect.
Yeah, he was like, no,
Watch.
it needs to be perfect. I'm like, oh, they just put it there. Put
And
it out there.
it's one of the reasons why I haven't like fully opened up my studio. 'Cause I keep thinking,
Yeah.
nah, I need to make sure I have a cable, and it's the
No,
dumbest
he
thing.
literally, and
It's the
and
littlest
he sits up
things.
here like for days.
Not like the wiring got to be perfect.
Yes.
You know what? I got to make sure I have a connection for every kind of aux cord. I got to make sure I have a Bluetooth connection. Nobody needs a Bluetooth
If
connection.
you look under this table, the coordination of the cord
The
so
wires
that
gotta
nothing
be
is in
neat.
your way is incredible.
'Cause
mind you, there's like, this is impeccable.
Yeah,
But if you-
yeah,
but if you look under-
exactly. If you looked under here, there's like a straight up like it's amazing.
But there's people, and then even right now, like I took my my computer in yesterday to get it, dripped out, and then I'm taking it back again next week because I'm like, yo, the computer got to be on point. I can't have myself shutting down while people are here recording, because again, we feel like, you know what, I want when someone experiences my product, they're gonna be like, yo, this is nothing.
You don't
want
want to leave any space for
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
talk.
So we
Yeah.
hold off and we wait and we perfect but.
Oh yeah, I go through that. I mean, not to get into astrology and whatnot, but I am a Virgo and I believe in perfection.
Okay.
And that's something that I'm trying to work on myself.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where nothing is ever. You're not gonna ever get it perfect in that
You're
startup.
not.
You're not. You have to pretty much get to one point and say, you know what, I have the basics, and I just gotta go. Like, I
Yes.
just gotta run with it. If you just keep waiting for perfection, it's not going to happen. You're only delaying your good graces and your
Right.
gifts and your blessings and whatnot from from it happening.
You gotta pull the trigger.
I wonder if a way to look at it is, you know, all the education that you're getting and all the preparation that you do, it's not to help you finally put out the perfect product, but to equip you with the things you need when you start hitting those bumps in the road that those people don't have, and you'll be able to actually come through with some results.
Yeah.
And, you know, like when they hit those bumps in the road, they won't know what they're talking about or how to solve them. But you who has been educated, who has prepared,
have resources.
Yeah, you're like, I got this. This is nothing. Yeah. And you're able to provide a solution ASAP. So maybe that's one way to like get out of that space.
Yeah. And also I think it's that internal conviction. I feel like, at least for me, at one point you just get tired. You're like, all right, man, enough with the nonsense. Let's just get on with it. Like, you know what? I think we're so, like you said, we're so worried about people's perceptions of, you know, what are they going to say if this is not in tip-top shape? Yeah. And it's like, you can't, because guess what? Most of the people are not doing what you're doing. You know, they're not starting a business. That in itself is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
So if it's not perfect, you know, so what? You're going to get there. It's not the end of the road. And you're going to constantly keep learning in your business. It's not like you start and that's it. You don't learn anything. I think most of us, if we don't come from a household that is about business or, you know, we don't know about business in general, it's starting from the ground up and learning from the ground up and bootstrapping yourself to learn how to be that lawyer, how to be the accountant, how to be the social media guru, how to also be, you know, how to also perfect your craft, and be better and, you know, be better than your competition and whatnot. So it's always going to be learning. So, I mean, at this point, it's like, why worry about perfection when, you know, you can just hit the ground running and do what you can. And as you roll with the punches, you're going to learn and you're going to develop and you're going to grow and you're just going to become a beast.
Yeah.
You know what it is, though? It's like, we don't want to, or at least myself, we don't want to end up being... We don't want to be talked about the way we just said. There's people that's putting out trash and they still making it. Like, I don't want to be the one that's putting out trash, but I made it still, you know. I want to make it because I put out perfection, you know. But I get it. It slows us down. Yeah. We take forever, and you have what others would feel is a quality studio that no one's ever visited because I want to make sure that the wiring is perfect. Yeah. And
but see, that's another thing because we're worried about not putting out trash. Our first product or our first iteration of our business is going to be
usually
good.
It's trash.
No, it's going to be good because you have held off so long.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be like, oh my God, it's perfect. Yeah. But you're going to have a good foundation where it's not completely trash.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, and also, you're not gonna know where it needs to improve because you're not putting it out.
You're not putting it out.
You know what that heartbreak is? Yeah. That heartbreak is when, you know what, I held off long enough. I'm ready.
And nobody
it's
cares.
Ready. And you put it out, and you're like, you know what? That's my best work. You put it out, everybody else. Yo, what is this trash, bro? Yo, whose studio is this?
You know, I was totally thinking that, like, how
you finally put it out. You finally put it out after some drip doctor was like, yo, you gotta just put it out. You gotta just pull the trigger. You put it out. You're like, you know what?
Like, this is a mess.
Yeah, the swag specialist was right. I gotta put it out there. And then everybody's like, yo, bro, you should have held on to that for a little bit longer, yo. I don't know who told you to put that out. Yo, that's heartbreaking.
But you have to learn, though. Like, that's how else are you gonna learn?
I mean, Ode, in this case, you're good.
Yo, for real. People come in here and they're like, oh, wow, no, this is for real.
Like, this is for real. Like,
my first thing, it's not done yet.
Right. Nobody asked you. Nobody asked you. Nobody said, Ode, oh my God, this is a great start. Oh my God, is it done? Like, I came in and I said, this is hot.
Why is that voice so strong? Why is that whole like, oh, it's not done yet so strong? Even though the rest of the world is telling you, yo, you ready? Why is that voice so strong? I blame our parents. No, I'm joking.
Wow.
It's the easiest option for everything.
That is the scapegoat.
Yo, why you always late for work? Yo, I got dad issues, bro. You know, my parents used to beat me. You know,
so I'm terrified. No, I think that's just our own expectations, like our own high expectations that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's just us.
It's just internal. It's always us getting into it now. If no one's telling you, hey, yo, this is kind of like ex-natus right now.
Yes.
You know, if no one's telling you that and you're getting nothing but positive feedback, then I think it's okay. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
I agree. So how about like in regards to, okay, so you put your product out there, right?
Subpar product. It's out there.
The first iteration,
the
the
world.
First iteration.
Yeah.
See, that's what's important to remember. This is the first draft.
There's levels to this, man. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's levels to this. So
Right.
you're gonna get better.
You
want to
build up instead of starting up and
Yeah.
just going down.
right?
Gotcha.
Because how do you maintain that?
I know.
Can you imagine
Well,
like
starting
it's
too high?
Yes.
starting too high, and then now it's like
all this pressure to just stay there?
Yeah.
Because
So
once you're there, you got to stay there.
So the drip doctor recommends put out the trash first.
And
so that way
build.
the standards are low, and then your next
Hey,
product,
listen.
everybody's like, damn, that was dope.
Hey, if that's what
See?
gets you up there, then you do what you got to
listen,
do.
America loves a good comeback story.
True.
And come up story. Hello, Cardi B.
Hello. So you start out with something trash, and you know, the public is pretty freaking honest with you. They'll let you know. Your friends will let you know, yo, this is trash.
You would hope your friends
Yeah.
would let you know.
Yeah, and then you come back into the lab. You be like, I pretty much got clowned for this, trash-tastic, product.
Yeah.
So now you make it better, and the next time it's gonna be like, okay, I see you onto something, and you just
Yeah.
keep leveling up, and then next thing you know, everyone's gonna be on your jock.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's
So
true.
It's
Gotcha.
So
Right.
how about like when it comes to actually like putting yourself out there, right? So we all our first instinct is we're gonna go to Instagram and put it out there. Like that's a different kind of pressure, right?
It is. Tell you one thing. Me and IG don't get along. Okay.
Like having to like you got to build your followers. So you have
Yeah.
to
It's a
start
lot of work.
following people that you haven't spoken to in years.
People you
and
don't
you're
even
like,
know.
Yeah.
people you don't even know. And
Yeah,
you're trying to
it's
like find a way to
hard.
not be so like obvious. Like, hey, follow my business page.
And like, yo, I ain't trying to do the whole wake up now thing. Chill. I know we ain't talking a while, but I ain't gonna fall for that.
Yeah. No. It's.
But there is that
hard.
fear too. Like my friend's gonna think I'm trying to sell them some whack,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah. Oh, what
here
you
you
doing?
are trying to sell your passion.
What you doing? What are you
Yes,
really doing?
right? Isn't that like a crazy amount of pressure that you feel like, oh my God? And then you start thinking to yourself like, oh my God, all these people are talking about me.
Yeah.
And they're like judging everything I'm doing.
Yep.
Why am I even doing this? Oh my
Yep.
God, why did I start? I
Yeah.
just know I could take it back. That's it. There's proof.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed that you feel like that high school friend who just knew you as whatever you were in high school is like, yo, you know what? Remember Ode with the big head?
What's her name? Yeah.
He a
Can you believe
DJ.
she trying to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Like, who told her?
Hit me up on
that you could do
Instagram. Like, follow me.
this? Like, fish, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
There's
it's
like,
true.
that kind of pressure kind of like eats at you. And
is.
then it's like, now you've opened the door of Instagram and now you're
Bruh.
like, I am worthless. I only have 25 followers. I am worthless. I only have 2,500 followers. And like people like that. And you're like, you got 2,500. What are you complaining about?
For real. I'm
So-
hoping I crack 100.
So,
let me tell you.
How many
Yo, listen, my
Literally sweating.
social media is pretty trash-tastic right now.
Drip Doctor? How many
Trash-tastic,
followers
I love it.
does the Drip Doctor have right now?
Listen, I might have like 101 right now.
Oh, swag.
That's horrible.
She's ready for her blue check.
Yeah,
It's
don't
like a
even come at me
bronze-
with no blue check.
it's
I'm
like a
like, yeah, I
bronze
should
check.
be like the Quasimodo of Instagram. Like, hide back there until you really ready to come out legit.
You know how souped I was when I got to 1,000? Like, souped. While everybody else got, like, my homeboy Vince Bracey got, like, I don't know, 13,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, bro, I got
I'm
1,000, and
yeah.
you got to call my agent if you want to talk to me.
It's so true, man. It's a lot of pressure, and as an entrepreneur, especially if you don't like, if your own personal account isn't hitting, 1,000 or whatever,
Right.
So it's like now you got to translate that into a
I
business
know.
profile. And
Into a
it's
media
really hard to a
presence,
media
it is.
presence, and it's a lot of freaking work because the people who have the thousands and the blue checks and whatever, they're on every single day,
Bruh.
multiple hours of the day, and I get dizzy. I'm like, wait, hold on, like I feel like the minute I'm able to, really, make this thing booming, I'm getting a social media marketer or manager
Yeah.
or somebody because I want to deal with the nonsense.
Yeah.
I just want to, get my reviews or take some pictures and of clients or whatever and post them up there and let somebody run that.
Yeah.
Because, just to think about the content, and you also have to keep in mind of the content that you are putting out. It
Yes.
has to be engaging. That's why people follow you.
You got to be
because
consistent.
consistent and engaging. Nobody wants to follow, you if you're one, not consistent, and two, if you're not being, engaging enough. So I know like that's something that I'm working on. But again, like I said, it's also hard, especially when, you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to work around that. So yeah, I'm hoping to work better, but
get your followers up.
I'm trying to get my followers up, but it's pretty bad right now. It's pretty bad.
You know what? Since we're on the topic, how can they find you on Instagram?
Yeah, true.
Like, let's do it right now.
Sure, you can find me at LMC Consulting on Instagram and on Facebook. Same handle.
Now, I guess
LM Consulting.
Along the same lines, because we're us. I have podcasts that I follow. I have my rotation of podcasts. There's the top tier, Joe Budden and them, Andrew Schultz with Flagrant 2. Their listeners, within minutes, they're in like the 100,000s of listeners.
That's crazy.
I know.
Just today, I was like looking at our first episode. I was like, oh, snap, 449. Our first
really?
episode. Yeah, see,
That's awesome.
look, we're like, oh,
That's
what?
great.
We're like, what?
amazing.
We're like, cool. We were aiming for like 10.
Like Spotify sent the check yet?
Humble.
I'm just waiting for Spotify to call for that deal.
Yeah, for that part, for that like fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a penny that they pay out.
So here we are, like our numbers are like in the low hundreds, but for us, like for us, that's like our bar. You know what I'm
So
saying?
now that you passed it, like.
Well, not even that. Like I said, some people come out like, am I wrong for setting setting that like a what some would say is like a low bar? It's my first 3 episodes. Am I wrong for saying, you know what? All right, let's kill these 25 listens. Or are you wrong for like setting the bar too low for yourself? Or is it? Do you have to give yourself a starting point?
My whole thing was it's nice to see that many people listen. But I always felt like content always wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if we didn't get, like the Joe Bidens, wow. Sometimes it shows that I spoke Spanish first.
The Joe Buddy podcast? The podcast? Jesus.
the Joe Budden's podcast.
It could be worse.
True.
On that Spotify.
Like maybe we don't get those 100,000 listens, but I think just having people engage with us, period, that counts for something. Even if it's the same person every single time, like that's cool with me because I'm like that's one person who does look forward to listening to us, so which is cool with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess all entrepreneur.
You do want to have a number and you want to, but it doesn't work like that. Like it doesn't, unless you're not backed by like this huge marketing team, like you're trying to find a space for yourself in such a ginormous platform. You're like smaller than a dot. Like it's just not, it's not realistic to think you're going to hit like 1,000 listens on the first 3 days of you airing your brand new podcast that, first of all, you weren't even on social media to begin with. Like, come on, you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think I said it before, but I keep thinking about it as we're talking. Where it's so much. Sorry, it's so harder when the product is you, because you really feel like it's not that people don't like my app, people don't like my design. No, people don't like my personal voice. People don't like my personal opinion. Like, damn, people literally do not like my sense of fashion.
Yeah.
They do not like my opinion. They do not like my my hands if you're a stylist or something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's different. It's different when you are like everything about you are the product in some way.
You are the brand.
And
Yeah, that's true.
And it hits you so hard. And again, it makes you want to just sit back and hold off on putting the product. You're like, yo, because it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Because I could just build a whole new app. I could learn from the app that failed and be like, you know what? I could build a new one.
True, but if people find your voice irritating,
I can't change my voice.
Yeah, but you know what?
Or
There's a
can you?
podcast. Yeah, you can.
Like, hello.
Oh my god.
Welcome to the You Me We podcast.
I'm sure there's a podcast with somebody that sounds
and they got 1,000 listens.
Right.
because their voice is so unique.
Right. Somebody's
I'm about to change
always
the game. Every episode,
Dude,
like,
let me
I'm
tell
change it up,
you,
like,
there's a
welcome to the
podcast-
You Me We podcast.
There's a podcast that O'Day listens to.
Which one?
And I'm sure they're gonna. I'm sure they have like great topics. I'm sure that they discuss, things worth discussing.
Easy.
I know that
no,
they do.
hold on. I might have to edit this out. Only.
No. I'm not making any name mentions. I'm
but
keeping it super vague.
But I think what you're gonna.
I'm gonna keep it super vague. But there is a voice on the podcast.
I'm gonna edit this out.
Why? I'm just saying there's a voice on the podcast that I found. I literally I can't take it. I tried.
Oh.
See, he doesn't even know who I'm talking about. It just makes sense to him. See, I'm keeping it super vague.
Okay.
There's a voice on the podcast that I just can't. He has played it on his phone and he'll stand next to me.
This is a very popular podcast.
It's a very popular podcast. And he'll play it next to me and it'll be like, I feel like it's 20 minutes and it's been like 30 seconds. And I'm like, I can't take this. Like, you know what? I'm going to buy you headphones.
Vicky can't.
You are not allowed to listen to this. I can't. The voice, it feels like someone's taking a nail and just like pounding it into my skull. Like,
but
that's how
that
bad
person's
it is.
voice. That's how that person talks. That's the words they use.
Yes.
Because
it's not just the voice. It's the way the person talks. It's the words that they use.
How
like
proper
it's
they
everything.
are.
It's levels at this point. I'm like, where you want to start?
On the checklist, like voice, thing.
And
if I'm words,
and if I'm that person,
see, I don't even know who you were talking about at first.
If I'm that person and I know this, I'm like, damn, this person doesn't like. I'm sure she's not the only one that feels this way about that person. I'm gonna be like, damn, these people hate my voice. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't change it. These people hate me as a product. They hate me. You hate me.
Yeah, but still, just like that podcast you was talking about, it's still popular.
It is a very popular. Exactly.
There is a small percentage of people that think that this voice is irritating, and there's a whole gang of people, gang,
that don't care.
That don't care, and it's
exactly.
like, yo, this is dope. So let them hate your voice, and they'll find something else.
There's an audience for everybody.
Yeah.
For every product we're putting out there, we're putting yourself out there with your product. There's a customer, or whatever. And for every, how do I flip this back around now? I'm doing the vice versa. So for every, for every customer that wants a product, there's a billion different versions of that product.
Yeah.
How do you? I'm sure there's 100 other drip doctors in Jersey.
I'm sure.
100 other swag specialists.
Absolutely.
How do you make yourself say, you know what? I'm the drip doctor you should come to.
Well, I think that really depends on your target market. Who's your niche?
Right.
I'm going to service a different niche than someone over here who's like, you know what, I'm going to be the swag doctor that's just focused on 20
artists
to 25-year-olds or musicians
yes.
or up and coming artists, or I'm going to be this swag doctor that's going to focus on
people on a college budget.
Exactly.
And college.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think there's that differentiation. And also, the market is saturated with everything.
But I was just at the grocery store. I'm like, how many brands of jarred minced garlic are there? Seriously?
Right. But these brands have found a way to make it different in some, whether it's the flavor of garlic, or it's the,
which is why I was there.
I get my garlic from this field and, this brand gets it from
this one is
Idaho. I don't know.
Yeah. This one is farmers made this and this one is a machine made this.
Right. I think also what can help is how people feel towards you in general. Like, do they feel like they connect with you? So do they feel like, obviously if this is someone who's about their business and they're like, I'm looking for a transformational process, I'm trying to level up, and they're a little older, like in our age bracket, they may not be going to a drip doctor. I'm so mad I'm still using this brand.
Trying to change her Instagram.
They may be going, they're not going to look to someone who's just focusing on the 20 to 25-year-olds because they're going to want a higher standard or higher level of service.
Right.
So I'm not concerned about that. I feel like I'll be perfectly fine, for me and what I want to do. It's just more so getting out of my own head. Yes. But I already feel like I have my own sauce. I feel like I have my own chocolate sauce or whatever. Chocolate sauce or some chocolate.
Oh,
so,
don't ever use that.
Oh, I'm going to use that tonight. Come in the bedroom.
We just exchanging,
No.
Mocha sauce.
Oh God! See, now he's going to take it to it. I'm just using the general chocolate sauce, but he's going to.
That's the name of the episode, chocolate sauce.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, so I feel like I have my own style that someone else is not going to be able to copy. My customer experience is going to be different from Pinot Grigio's experience.
Absolutely.
So,
You know what I've thought about in the past, and I feel like I've probably done it to an extent. But I know some people who have done it to the extreme. I want to put myself out there. I want to put my product, who I am, out there. So there's who I am, then there's who I'm putting out there, and sometimes it's a whole different person.
it has to
You know what?
be.
There was somebody you listened to on one of those cooking shows you listen to, and the woman had this weird like, "Hi, welcome to my cooking show."
Oh my goodness, yes.
And I was like,
and you know what's crazy? I was watching it, and I watched it because I'm a big YouTube person. Like, I can watch everything on YouTube. I love all the people are like, I'm going to start a cooking show.
So what?
I ain't no chef. I don't care.
Exactly.
And the girls, like, the girls, you know, baking her stuff. And I'm just like, at the TV, I look perplexed. I'm like,
it's like, is that you?
something
Is that your
makes
voice?
sense.
Is that
And then Ode literally walks by, and he was like,
hell is
is
wrong
that
with her voice?
real voice? And I'm like, thank you. Yo. And I was like, no, that can't be. And what I did was that I like went to her very first video.
She's like, yo,
and it was
what up?
Yo, for real.
Welcome to my show.
She was it was a completely different voice. I was like,
But which one was the one that blew up? The one that clearly wasn't really her, right? That's the one that
Yeah.
was popular. So I'm like, I could see people doing that.
yeah. Possibly.
Some I guess as
if that's what gets the money coming. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like that's hard though.
That is-
I feel like that's hard to keep up.
Yes,
you
when
know,
it's not natural.
it's not natural. Like I feel
Or
like
maybe she morphed into
But
that
yo,
person.
if it's making me money, it's gonna be natural. It's gonna be every day. I'll be like, welcome to the
But
podcast.
see, I feel like I would slip up back into that.
Yeah,
yo.
yeah.
Like,
yeah, but like maybe she morphed into that person
To the point where
because that
she's
is
stuck.
that's who the people love,
Yeah.
and then I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I'd rather go through my own, cocoon process, pretty much shedding the old me,
Yeah.
coming into a better me, but
Yes.
not like on some poser.
like not on a complete like 180.
Right, just but just on the stuff that I'm getting out of my comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
I have to establish myself as an expert, and I have to put myself out there for people to see that I'm an expert. So I'm gonna just do me, but not on some I'm gonna change my whole
Right.
type of personality or my voice or whatever characteristics. Like you just gonna have to deal with it, my man. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Is the only because I'm there, where I would say this is this right now, this Phoenix MPM brand is like the third iteration of the brand, and I think that happens a lot when you're putting yourself out there, because
Yeah.
there's
a lot of adjusting.
there's the
to
first
do.
version that you were dedicated to, that you did you waited long enough, you waited a long time to perfect it, and it's like, okay, I was a DJ at one point, I'm not so much a DJ anymore because I'm not trying to play Cardi B for little 10-year-olds while their parents stand in the background going like, fuck it up,
No, it's true. I think we're always going to have multiple iterations. Like I know for myself, I was working with a client, and after we were finished with the whole process, I wanted to give her like something to say thank you, for her, for her, for allowing me, to be part of her journey. And my first thought was I need to create a gift box, and what am I doing? So I found. I found like a vendor who creates these gift boxes, BoxFox, and they created this wonderful gift box where you could like select little things to go inside the box. So
That's what my cousin does.
Yeah,
She
so I
creates
picked some
personalized
stuff.
baskets.
Yeah, so I picked some stuff that I knew would go with her based off me getting to know her. She loved it, but then I decided, Self said, hey, why don't we?
Self said,
Hey, Latrice. What's up, Latrice?
Self said, hey. This, because of the shock value that she got on oh my God, this is great, thank you so much. I said, let me incorporate that into my model. So I went to start looking for gift boxes that'll work for me, and I gave it to another client. And mind you, I think this thing was raggedy than a motherfucker. Right? I mean, it came out. It did come out nice, but like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so I had to like find the right ribbon, and I didn't have no pinking shears.
Girl, when you go to buy ribbon, it's like here's a wall of 5,000 different ribbons.
Yeah,
Have
but
fun.
I had to find like a particular ribbon.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like here's 5,000 to select from.
So
You're like, great.
I couldn't even go to a store. I had to go to like good old Amazon. Because you can
Exactly.
find
Yep.
Amazon, you can find it on anything, right? So I had to go and find this ribbon, found the perfect ribbon, found the box. Didn't have no pinky shears. My, the end of my ribbon was kind of shredding and whatnot. So I'm like, this shit is raggedy, motherfucker, right? But I gave it to, my other client, and she's like, oh my God, this is the best.
Because it's all about the thought.
Right.
It's all
And
about
she
the
was like,
personalization.
she's like, your presentation of the box was so nice. And I'm like, Ode, like, well, it's a little raggedy. Don't.
And it's like, they don't want to, they
It's
don't know
it's my
all
first
that.
version of
Right.
it. It's
And
my
she's
first version.
like, and I made sure to stop myself to say this is my first version. I think I secretly did say it underneath my breath, like, oh, this is like the first prototype, right? But she didn't care. She thought it was beautiful. So that's why I'm like, you think your stuff is trash, and then because we're so wrapped up, because you're so worried about how the end product is going to look, your first version is probably going to be pretty decent, before you get that, whose man's is this putting this stuff out here? So, yeah.
So
No, sorry.
those boxes that you gave out, were those
Yeah.
similar to the ones you brought for us?
We're not her clients. You paid for her services.
Guess you didn't bring.
You paid for her services.
Didn't bring for us.
I mean, I'm going to
You
slide
ain't
your
getting
little
none.
thumb,
Okay. Wow.
Hire her.
Well, maybe you should bring a box for me.
Yeah, so, yeah. But
That's
I
Why?
mean,
Hire her.
Let you in my house.
I mean,
I
so,
I let you in my house.
yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, now I'm going to change my boxes up because I just let the world know that my boxes is raggedy.
the box. Somebody's like, that raggedy box she gave me. I just didn't want to tell her to her face. So,
Yeah.
But it's small things like that
Yeah.
kind of like start
Change.
to put you at a certain level.
Right.
Mm.
And like I said, that's part of what I want, like I said,
Yeah.
my customers
You want to create that whole full-on experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
So,
In every entrepreneur conversation,
mhm.
like the official entrepreneur conversation, there is that whole thing about when it comes to you can take a chance on yourself. Yes, there's that whole thing of that cliche, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Do you feel like with your journey? Do you feel you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or you're in?
I am conviction wise, I am in.
Mhm.
Now, the 1 foot out, 1 foot in thing for me is me getting the hell up out of my job, out of my 9 to 5. That's my 1 foot in, 1 foot
Yeah.
out. I feel like with that, I feel like my current 9 to 5 represents me currently, like my old,
Yes.
old me, and my conviction for my entrepreneur journey is my new version of me that I desperately want, but I'm having this conflict with old me because I'm in a job. I'm secure, I good benefits, steady paycheck, and what we're so accustomed to and what we're so
Absolutely.
used to, what we've been, what has been drilled into us to say, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you let Sally Mae kick your ass for a little bit.
CUNY, not me. City University of New York. Leaving
Anyways,
college.
he does this every time.
Every time,
'Cause
yeah.
I ain't
well,
got
yes.
no loans.
Sally Mae's definitely my pimp. So, yeah.
Sally Mae's like, oh my God, that's such a nice check. Let me get
Let
2/3
me
of
get-
that.
Let me get that, son. Where you going?
He's like, thank you.
So, and then, if you decide you want to go to grad school, then whatever.
Yeah.
So we follow those steps, especially if you are someone who's, of an ambitious nature. So then we're not used to this entrepreneur life. So it's a constant battle. Like, how do I let go? Like, I want this, but I'm trying to let go of old me so I can fully embrace, or, I guess take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. I feel like every part of me is telling me it's time. It's time for me to take that leap and just fully embrace what I'm about to go into. But then the other half of me was like, yeah, nah. I'm not sure if you're really ready for what's about to happen.
Like, slow down.
Slow down. So yeah, that's my conflict that I deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs, though,
Yeah.
no, right?
Yeah.
I got a question for around. I got a question for around the room. A question for our listeners. That hopefully under the comments, or Vicky will ask it.
You can ask
I'm
it.
covering the camera.
I know.
Vicky's gonna ask it in the on the.
Or you could ask
the
him.
I don't know how to do all that techie stuff. You
I
young
can-
whippersnappers, you can do that.
How you don't know how to do
Says
all
the
this
guy.
stuff and
Says
you
the guy who has like a
dashboard
mobile
over here.
mobile control of the entire house. Like he could lock me out, shut off all the lights, like disconnect me
no.
from
I
the
don't have
world with one
time.
click on his phone.
Convenience.
I don't have time to find out how to ask Instagram, what shoes you wearing today with a picture of a moving shoe, and it's Vicky on the picture
Yo.
going, no. I'm like, what is all that?
You saying I got time? Wow.
Anyways.
Disrespect.
Anyway, so,
maybe episode 23 ain't happening.
Wait a minute.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You might not.
He's like,
be
it's
here.
gonna be either with me or without you.
Me and my son gonna do a little You Me We podcast. Your co-host already chosen. I mean, your replacement's already chosen. So, go back.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be your entrepreneurial journey. Either the first time or the most significant time you put yourself out there.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter if it ended badly. Because I have a couple examples of myself that probably ended bad. But so Vicky, Latrice, myself, all listeners.
Yeah.
Given that one time or that first time you put yourself out there.
I don't know. I gotta think about that. The first time I put myself out there.
Would it be with the article you wrote?
What article did I write?
For your website launch. Remember,
Oh,
like the tips?
yeah. No, I
Go
no.
deeper. Go deeper.
Yeah,
go
no.
deeper.
I don't think that was it. Because you know why? Because that's behind the scenes. I'm still a little nervous, obviously, because again, you gotta, you have that internal thought, like, who's gonna believe you?
Yeah.
But
I was like, yo, this is some awesome tips, like that for real.
awesome.
For real.
Great. I'll have to put that back up.
No,
on my
you got to
social
put it up.
media.
And you got to push that because that was awesome.
And I, create one for the men's in them out there.
Nah, they can
so.
stay looking raggedy.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
It's an ebook that I created for my launch. But I don't know. I'll do, the most recent thing that I can think of. And that had to be last year. I was invited to speak at a women's empowerment brunch.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I wasn't invited.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't my thing. I'm sorry. But next time. But I was invited just to speak, not like a keynote speaker or anything, but just to simply speak at the brunch about my business. They had the host had a segment where they wanted to highlight local businesses in that area, and I had created this great 3-minute speech about me and my business, and it was just gonna be thebomb.com. And I got up there and I felt like I was a fumbling mess.
Aw,
And
I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, but I just felt like I was so wrapped up in everyone's looking at me.
Yeah.
And
It's a different kind of pressure when
a
it's like a
different
whole bunch
kind
of eyes.
pressure.
Like,
You're right. So I immediately lost focus and lost of everything. So I don't know what I said.
oh.
I didn't want to record myself
I said
because I was
words.
just too. I know I said words.
Yeah.
I think they were.
She's like, maybe I mentioned my business. I'm
Maybe
almost positive I said
mentioned-
my name
Yeah, I said my name. I did mention my business. After that, I cannot tell you what happened. And of course, you get the whole pity, like, good job. And I'm like, no,
That was
listen.
good.
Yeah, like, that was good. Like, great
They
job.
seem
I'm
to
like,
enjoy it.
don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. That was horrible, but I made it through. I was so happy that at least I didn't back out of it.
Absolutely.
So I gave myself the kudos that, I took one step forward. I know that now that's something that I do want to incorporate speaking into my business. So that was just a great platform for me just to start. So now I know that I got to focus more on how to not get frazzled, when people are just looking at you like, what
And
you
plus,
about to say?
you already had that initial experience.
Right.
You can only go up from here.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right. So, what did make me feel better was, the hostess, of the brunch, not the two people who put it on, but the actual hostess. She was like, well, your outfit is amazing. I was like, well, thank you.
exactly.
So, that brought me back into my element. But by that time, I was walking back to my seat. So, again, I was so nervous. So I felt like that's a perfect instance of me putting myself out there because I think everyone or most people are scared of public speaking. And it's strange because I used to do before in my 9-to-5 job many moons ago. So it used to just be like, it should be nothing. But since I moved up the chain or whatever, I haven't had to do that anymore. So therefore, I'm out of it. So it's been years.
And
since
plus,
I
it's a
did
different
public
kind
speaking.
of pressure for doing it for
Agreed.
your job and then
Yes.
doing it for what you want to be your livelihood.
Right.
Like, it's different because you're like, oh my God, I have everything writing on this.
Yes. And It really wasn't. It wasn't like I had everything. It was
But you
just really
feel
what
like
you
that.
Feel like
yeah, you
it's
feel
that pressure
like
that
it's like
I'm up
this is
here.
it. Like if
Right.
I either do it or
Right.
like if I blow it, that's it. I'm
Right,
done.
right.
It's like no,
My
relax.
heart
it's
was
not that
beating.
deep.
Everything. I had like this sweater on.
That's a
I'm
sweat
like,
stain
I'm
going
like,
on.
is my sweat stains coming out yet? Like, oh my god! Like it's just 3 minutes, and it went from 3
it's
minutes to I felt
hilarious.
like 60 seconds. I felt like I was up there like, hey, my name is Latrice M. Cole, and it's my business. Bam, I'm out. You know, which I'm
Heart beating, just like
heart beating everything.
took one breath and it was done.
It was done
in your head.
In my head.
Yeah.
I said my 60 seconds. It might have even been 30, and sat myself down in the chair like I did
killed
that. Like I did that. Like that was hot shit.
I think for me, if I had to pick one related to this, it was not just me starting the podcast. It was me in the short-lived, I might bring back the short-lived Make Party main stage.
Oh, okay.
And what the Make Party main stage was me having friends over, my talented friends, to do performances. So whether they were dancers or singers, and because you've probably seen like unplugged on acoustic versions of performances. But here I am inviting them to come to my living room, literally to my living room.
Yeah, we had a huge
Yeah.
room.
And I'm like, who am I to tell these people to come to my living room? I'm just gonna set my DJ equipment up, my speakers up, and that's gonna be. So here I am trying to tell them, come to the performance. The performance space is 6 by 6 foot wide. It has a full sound system, and we have an audience of about 10 to 15. It's literally our family
There was literally
from
like
downstairs.
and upstairs. And
Yeah.
like my cousins that lived around the corner. I'm like, yo, come on.
And I did it, and the few people who did come and perform, they were like, yo, that was so cool, man. I love doing it. But I'm like, you okay performing in my living room? Like,
But see, they're not gonna care because you know what? That's exposure for them to your audience.
Yeah.
You know,
That's people that would have never heard them before.
right. If they get one new person from your followers, that's a win.
but I think again, it's
That's
like
a win.
it's me, it's us saying,
Yeah.
like, who am I to tell you like this is where you need to be on the Make Party. Man, listen,
Right.
you can perform anywhere else, the Madison Square Garden, the whatever.
I mean, I won't go that far. I mean,
But if you want
You're
to
like
make
Radio
it,
City who?
if you want to make it in this game, hun, you need to be at
you
the
need
Make
to come
Party
here at the
main
Make
stage.
Party right here, right now.
But before you start, hold on. My baby crying in the back because we are in my house. So,
Well,
No,
I think
I
that
think
that
that's
was
awesome,
with regards to the podcast. We just kind of wanted to spark conversations that I feel like we have, and if we have them, for sure,
Other
at least
people have
one
them.
other couple is having them.
yeah.
Or one of our friends has wanted to have this discussion with someone, or maybe we can offer a different point of view that they haven't considered. And I think that that's what I enjoyed the most, because when we would air the podcast, I had this like group of messages with some of my friends, and like straight up conversations would spark from the podcast episode. Like they're like, oh my God, I was just like, me and my boyfriend literally just had that argument like the other day, and it's so crazy because I didn't even consider ABC. And I was like, that's really what we wanted, or at least what I wanted from the podcast.
Yeah.
It was like to just spark genuine conversation that we could have, because I feel like we're just in the new age. Like relationships aren't what we thought they were gonna be when we got older.
Parents lied.
Our parents, no, and not only that, but our
Soap
parents.
operas lied.
Yep.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, but our
You watched soap operas growing
I
up.
watched kids soap operas. Like I didn't watch Days of Our Lives. Oh no, that's Friends.
No, Days of Our Lives. That was
Oh, that's a real show.
Yes.
That
Oh,
was
I
the-
thought that was from Friends.
That was
Okay.
the show. Days of Our.
Oh, they grew up watching that.
Wait,
So anyway,
Pause.
wait.
I'ma just say,
Wait,
I'ma
you
just
only-
say,
you only
if
know
you
Days of Our
not,
Lives
if you
because of
not, if you
Joey?
not a Latino soap opera star, whatever, we don't care. You don't do it like the OGs of this game, okay? If you are not in a Spanish-speaking novela, don't nobody care about your soap opera, okay? If it's in English, if it's in any other language other than some Spanish, nobody cares. It
Did-
ain't booming
Did y'all
in
hear,
your household like it is in ours, okay?
Did y'all hear how Vicky was deprived as a kid? So you,
I wasn't deprived. I was given the original, and then I looked at the pitiful things you guys produced, and I was like, "Wow, this is really sad. Americans should just leave it to the people that know how to do it."
I'm genuinely off topic. I'm genuinely insulted that you only know
Ode just did the clap.
Days of Our Lives.
That's how he grew up watching it. That's why he's so offended right now.
Not only grew up watching, that was me and my grandmother's show.
That's very sad.
Me and her would link up. We talk about Stefano and Bo and Billy.
Anyways, so what I was saying, which I totally forgot now. Great.
All of that.
Mission
We were
accomplished.
like, all right.
No, but okay. Is there something about going all in with making yourself vulnerable when putting yourself out there? And I asked that question because our first conversation about this podcast was us saying, maybe we should do a podcast. Maybe our first episode should be us putting our dirty laundry out there.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And we felt like,
I'm
you know what?
so happy we don't.
And we felt like
We didn't.
If we just go that hard from the jump, make ourselves vulnerable, it's like, okay,
We're
go,
here.
We can go anywhere from there.
Yeah.
And I think some people will go into putting themselves out there with that mentality.
Yeah.
Is there something to that? Just kind of making yourself vulnerable, or is it just putting yourself out there? I would say it is.
I think
it is
the first,
vulnerable.
it is vulnerable, but then it's like you have to limit, because one, you always want to have something more to offer, right?
So episode 100, we putting out dirty laundry.
But you just want to do like your first step. Like your first step shouldn't be running. Your first step should just be you being able to balance your feet, and that's it. So I'm so happy we didn't do that.
No, go all out. Latrice, your first thing.
And sometimes he be trying to get me. I feel like sometimes he tries to get me to that point, and I'm like, nah.
Because I'm petty, and Vicky makes comments on air. I'm just like, did she just say that?
Yo, and he'll be like, you want to do this? You want to do this?
I got receipts.
Yeah, no, it is definitely. I think just putting yourself out there is vulnerable. I do think, however, putting yourself out there. Oh,
there you go.
Okay. I do think that putting yourself out there and really letting the world or your followers, your viewers, whomever, really see who you are, I think that's a different level of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think, for some people, they're super comfortable to do that, where they're just like, I'm going to let it all hang out, and I'm going to just...
It is what it is. Nothing you say, it ain't going to do nothing to me. And I'm like...
And then there are folks like me, and that's like, yeah, I'm putting myself out there, but I'm not sure if I want y'all to see all of
that,
me,
yeah,
or all of that just yet. I do feel like maybe there is some advantage to maybe being that vulnerable, because people like to connect. Like, isn't that what the social media thing is about? People want to connect. They want to.
I want to know you're human.
I want to know that you're human.
Yeah.
I want to know that maybe your story relates to mine. So now we're best buds on in my head and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I do think there's an advantage, but I also feel like that person has to be ready to do that. And I don't think no one can tell you when you're ready to do that. You just know when it's ready for you to sit down and be like, all right, here is my story. Here's how I got here, and here's my struggle. And again, we all love a good come up story or underdog story. So there might be some advantage there. It seems like there is some advantage to that.
Yeah.
So we would be doing our listeners a disservice if we didn't have the certified drip doctor give our listeners 3 do's and don'ts of drip. So like being a fashion consultant, I definitely want to make sure we highlight your skill.
Sure, I mean, hey.
So feel free to tear Vicky apart in her outfit. I'm joking.
No, I would never.
So what are
Vicky
3?
has her own dripness.
What are 3 like general words of advice that you can give? Generally, you can give people.
Yeah.
No matter what field you're in, what you're doing.
Got it. I would say no matter what field you are, when it
brush
comes.
your teeth. What?
I mean, brush your teeth. Make sure you do some mouthwash.
These are words of advice.
Put a Listerine, little,
Some people forget that part of drip. But my outfit looked bomb, son. But you know what? You didn't brush your teeth.
Yeah, no. I think when it comes to your clothes, first and foremost, be mindful of the fit and the flatter. of your clothes.
And the flat.
Yeah, how your clothes fit you. You don't have to buy the most expensive things and whatnot. You can look expensive just by the way your clothes fit you, and that your clothes don't look cheap.
Yeah.
you everybody knows you can look expensive on a beer diet.
Yeah.
You know, that's something easy anyone can do, but take it to the next level. Make sure that, you know, when you are buying your clothes, they fit you. You know, they fit you perfect to you. Not too tight, not too small. If it's baggy and things like that, it could come off that, you know, you look sloppy. You look sloppy. You don't care. Ode has a nice fitting shirt on right now. You know, it fits him. You know, it's not too tight. I don't see buttons, you know, trying to bust out, screaming for help. Now
Carry
he has
on.
his legs
Carry
crossed.
He said carry on.
Carry on.
But yeah, I know that's one thing that people may wonder, like, you know, how do I change my clothes without having to make a huge investment on a wardrobe or something? And it could be go into your wardrobe and, you know, your best staples that you have, make sure they actually fit you appropriately.
Yeah.
And if you want to really extend the life of it, you know, you may have to go one step further and get it tailored, you know, and that helps. That goes a long way as well. So definitely fit and flatter, meaning, you know, it flatters your shape, you know. For women, you know, for men as well. You don't want your suits to be overly baggy. You know, you don't want your shirts to be too long, hanging over your wrist. You know, so you want to make sure your things are ironed and stuff of that nature.
Kevin, don't worry about it.
I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch
Don't worry about
that.
it.
Because the thing is, I know
He'll get it.
he's gonna cut this clip
He'll
and
get
send
it.
it right to him.
I'm doing God's work. By telling him.
I'm not going to even
Continue.
touch that. I'm not going to even touch that. Oh, it's not. So yeah, that's something general, something basic. That I think everyone should be aware about. Sometimes, you know, just in my field, even doing HR, I'll see some people come in and it's like, they tried.
You ain't gonna work here long.
They tried, but
Not under my watch.
I mean, hey, listen.
I must have been off that day.
You tried, but you know, you could always do that extra step, and it doesn't take that much. Just be more conscious of, you know, when you're going out there and looking at what actually fits you.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. Because you don't want to look sloppy. You don't want to look extra baggy. It doesn't send off the right message of respect or confidence for yourself. So how you expect somebody else to take you seriously with that? So definitely fit and flatter.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, do's and don'ts of drip from the certified drip doctor, certified swag specialist,
Oh my goodness.
AKA chocolate sauce.
aka chocolate sauce.
That is what he's gonna title this episode.
She's gonna go home right now to her special somebody. He's gonna be like, chocolate what? Who chocolate sauce you in?
I know, right?
Don't even like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So don't forget, everyone who wants to find out more, they can definitely follow you.
Yep. LM Consulting on IG and Facebook.
Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not on Twitter
Me
yet.
either. I'm like,
I'm still trying to master one thing at a time.
Exactly.
No, I'm
Same
already
here.
struggling with this IG.
And plus,
stuff.
your services are more visual,
Yes.
so I feel like
IG's
Twitter
perfect.
wouldn't really do her business justice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's very true. I think so too.
And Vicky, it doesn't matter. So thank you all for tuning in to episode 22 of the You, Me, We podcast.